Masters of the Universe, the Legends of Grayskull podcast.
Legends of Grayskull is a fan podcast exploring the vast worlds of He-Man and She-Ra. Join Sean Scavarna and Matthew Duke as they discuss the history and mystery of Eternia and Etheria, diving deep into all incarnations of Masters of the Universe.
Hey, you know who's back? It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Now that you know, let's go get ready for the show. It's the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to L.O.G on MYP. This is the Legends of Grayskull mini-series where Curtis Ackerman and Matthew Duch, we break down the 2002 MYP He-Man and the Master Universe cartoon series. We're going episode by episode, and today we're all the way to episode 22, The Island. But before we start running away from Claw, guys, Curtis, how you doing today?
Fantastic. You've been waiting to hear me talk about this one, haven't you?
I have been waiting the entire mini-series to get to this episode. This is an episode.
It is definitely an episode. That's for sure.
Let's please. I can't wait any longer. We've waited 21 episodes already. We gotta get right into it. This is episode 22, The Island. This was written by Dean Stefan, big name showrunner of the series, known for some of the most memorable episodes thus far. It is directed, as always, by Gary Hartel, story edited by Dean Stefan. Final draft was finished on July 23rd of 2002, and this originally aired in the U.S. on April 5th of 2003. The Cartoon Network episode description. While visiting his mentor on a remote island, Man-at-Arms is captured by evil crab-like creatures. So, right off the bat, back in 2003, all right, we're getting a Clawful episode. Here we go.
All right.
I mean, yeah. So we got Man-at-Arms, we got his mentor, we got crab-like creatures. Well, I was pumped.
I got it. Well, at this point, you had already heard Clawful's voice, right? So we kind of know how they're treating Clawful. You were still excited, though? Like, you were still
thought this... Yeah, because this was going to be his episode.
Okay.
We're going to see him. We're going to see his people. This is going to be his chance to shine. Absolutely. Because... number one, the voice did not bump me as much as it bumped you.
Okay.
So, like, I thought, and really, we've had both sides of Clawful. We've had the push the button, but then we've also had this giant roaring creature that's knocking down trees and taking swipes at Tila. So it's like, all right, let's see what his episode is going to be. You know, I was excited. And as you know, Clawful is one of my favorite redesigns of this series. Like, he looks phenomenal. He looks
amazing. Yes.
So I'm like, okay, they're going to give him an episode. He's got to have a more substantial part. Like, we're going to see more of him. And hopefully that'll help with some of the bebop and rock steadiness of it.
So this is what you're thinking the week ahead of time when you see the summary.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So we start off with two fishermen. We find out that one of them is just some random old guy, and the other one is Decker, the former teacher at arms. Sorry.
Refresh my memory. Did we know of Decker before this? Like, did he appear in any sort of mini comics or
no? Decker is
third books or anything.
Decker is a completely new character.
Okay.
Man-at-Arms did have a former teacher that he visited in the Filmation series, but that was Rohad. And he was more, his role was more of a mentor, like the Man-at-Arms inventive side. Like, he was small, he had glasses, he was a scientist. And that right there.
I also noticed like they called Decker, he says that he's a teacher at arms.
Right.
Which is just kind of a weird title, but okay. All right.
For sure. But it ties him in, and I like the idea of Duncan and Randy running around the academy. You know what I mean? When he's at, well, what about King Randor? He's like, used to call him Randy. Like, especially in this series, and this is one where we flash back where they talk about the past where it doesn't break continuity. Because he even says he was for the Eternian Kingdom, not for the king, because it would have still been the elders back then. Randor would have just been an upcoming, favorite to become a captain, but like he wasn't a prince. In this continuity, Randor was never a prince.
Gotcha.
So I at least like that the dialogue doesn't break that, unlike the Spalians who didn't know that anyone was appointed king, but they knew about Skeletor. So yeah, we get Decker's bragging because, man,
they kind of mentioned the Spalians here, right? Didn't the other guy that's not Decker say something about he used to work in like the Spalian mines or something?
he was a day worker. Yep.
Yeah.
So I like this opening just because it kind of fleshes out the world, and and basically these are two retired guys fishing. They retired to Florida essentially, and they're just bragging about what they used to do. And
I do like the opening. I wish we would have gotten more of these two. Like these two, I'm just interested. But
right. So and then Decker's bragging because Man-at-Arms. He's leading the Master Universe now, and he's gonna come visit him today. That's why he's out fishing. So,
which I kind of wonder, like how does that work? Like how is the communication on Eternia to where he knows that that's happening? Like, did he send a carrier pigeon ahead of time? Did
I think we've seen them
sort of. Like we don't see him with any sort of communicating device to like talk to them like while they're on the way and stuff. Like how does he know that he's on the way?
I think it's planned. I mean, I think he's not just popping in. He called.
You think it's like a regular, like every year on this day
that could be, or he's like, hey, what are you doing on Friday?
How did they do? Like, how did that conversation take place? Like,
well, we've seen them. They've got communicators, they've got monitors. We've seen them FaceTime before, and we never make it into Decker's hut. So
okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have like an iPhone, but I'm sure he's got some sort of a monitor in his hut that, allows him.
So it is a technology, in your mind, it's a technology-based communication method. Okay.
Yeah, and this was all set up weeks ago. Like this is a plan, yeah, but come on, bring the kids. I'll go out in the morning, I'll fish, we'll get some crabs, we'll fry them up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do see a couple of crab-like creatures that are clearly part of Clawful's race, and we'll soon find out one of them is in fact his cousin. And they overhear, unfortunately.
Well, before that, like, what do you think about the expansion of these people? Like obviously we knew from Filmation that there were more of the characters like Stratos, right? But what do you think about like seeing other whether it's mermen or these crab people or whatever, like do you like these characters being kind of a one-off and being the only one, or do you like them fleshing out this like race of beings?
I like both. I'm never turned off by them being from a race. I don't want everybody to be from a race. Like I don't necessarily want like a race of Scareglows, but like I guess where it makes sense. Mermen makes sense. The claw guys make sense. Even Beastmen make sense.
Gotcha.
But like I don't want to see a race of two bads. Like that doesn't. That would be weird to me. So, and honestly,
maybe like a race of the whatever Tuvar is and whatever Badra is. Like
right. But if they were just to say like, oh, these are the double people race, like, nah,
gotcha.
No.
Okay.
But no, I have no problem.
Seeing this, normally I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like sometimes they stick too close to the artwork of the main character. So like if these look just like Clawful, but had a different voice or something, I'd be like, I don't know. But they have different designs, and I actually think they're kind of cool looking.
Yeah, same as we've already seen the Caligars in this series, and the same thing there. They're not just Whiplash clones or even Whiplash, redecos. we've got some uniqueness to them,
which is an easier way to do the animation. So, kudos to MYP for actually going, hey, let's give these guys, some characteristics that make them individual and this and that, because it would have been very easy just to kind of, copy and paste kind of thing.
Right. Here's a brown clawful. Here's a green clawful. Here's, absolutely. So yeah, no, I'm all for it. And especially these two look especially cool.
I'm up until this point when they hear that Man-Arm's coming to visit and stuff, and we hear about the cousin and everything. At this point, I am dialed in. Like, okay, this episode is interesting. It's got me. And then
it's a great premise, and I'm going, okay, like, so they're gonna go get Clawful. Clawful's gonna come and rally his people, and they're gonna well,
and you would assume that Clawful, yes, we're seeing this rapes of crab people, but if Clawful is the one that has been selected to be an evil warrior, you would expect that Clawful is the best of the best, right? Clawful is the big bad of the claw people,
right? There's something about him, right? Yeah. And that's part of what I like. These races give you the opportunity. By making it a race, it gives you the opportunity to explore why is this guy the one that's Skeletor's evil war. With Whiplash, we saw it's because he betrayed his people.
Yes.
And he's the outcast. So like, yeah, exactly.
Merman's kind of like the king under the sea and stuff. Like they Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
So, and here's why I'm pumped for this episode. And then
I'm pumped too until they say, hey, call your cousin. Yeah. And we get
I'm even good here. We get like
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And this is kind of what got me thinking about how did Decker communicate with Man-at-Arms? Like, we're in a world that has, magic and portals and technology and all this stuff. And these crab people who talk and have names and have cousins are going right.
I don't know,
and
to
that
me,
gets all the way to Snake Mountain.
Like they're underwater creatures. You got the whole like dolphin echo sonar thing going on. I'm like, I'm still good here. Like, okay, that's it's
and the fact that he said he's gonna call his cousin rather than he's gonna claw his cousin, because it would have been really easy just to say I'm gonna claw my cousin. Sounds almost similar, but it just missed opportunity. But okay.
Here's where I'm like, what are we doing? Is we follow the clicky click all the way through the ocean, through the pools of Snake Mountain. It comes up, and Clawful is so dumb that he doesn't know the language of his people. He needs Evil Lynn to mansplain to him what those noises are.
To even tell him what it is, like even if he
doesn't even know,
even if he didn't understand it, even if it was like let's say it was a dialect that he didn't quite get or something like that. There was because there's based on where you're at, like there could be like the equivalent of like an accent when it comes to this clicking noise or something. But the fact that he doesn't even recognize it's a language,
he has no idea what this weird sound is, even though he is a claw person. He grew up with like.
And he is the one that's been selected to be part of the Evil Warriors. Yeah.
He made it.
Yeah. Yeah. So not only Evil Lynn have to tell him what it is, but later on, like we'll see that like she actually has to translate it for him. She has to tell him what it is, and she has to tell him what the message is. So
yeah. So yeah, she helps him decode it because he is bad. And that's the other thing. He goes, I'm bad at spelling.
Yeah.
But it's not like, so they're clicking each letter individually and he can't.
It could be like Morse code. Yeah. Where they're doing each letter, maybe.
I still wouldn't say that's spelling though. Like, you know what? Like, it's like, I'm bad at Morse code, but I'm like, I don't know. Yes, they went for the punchline.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I mean, if the other person is doing the spelling, all you're doing is the reading. Really, I mean, it's in your head, but I hear what you're saying. Like if he was communicating back to them, that's where maybe the spelling would come in. But
right,
yeah.
So then we've got
Evelyn goes to talk to Skeletor, which is one of my favorite parts. Like, I love this part. This is I will say this is my favorite part of the episode, is when Skeletor's like, oh, like Man-at-Arms is going. Like, we could kidnap him and kind of find out about his cool inventions. And there you go. What? Like, Triclops has nothing to do with this episode whatsoever. He is like this. He doesn't have one line. He doesn't do anything. But there's just this where he's like working on one of the, what do they call it? The death. What is it? The
Doom Seekers.
The Doom Seekers. And he hears Skeletor say, "Oh, we can kind of interrogate Man-at-Arms about his inventions." And Triclops goes, "Oh, like what am I? Chopped liver?" You know?
Right. Yeah, and even says, "Oh, somebody might be out of a job soon."
Right. Which I just love that little piece, you know, because some of this stuff hits the cutting room floor, and like we'll see, like when you get to your book that I can never have, you know, that there's certain scenes that didn't make the cut. I'm glad this one made the cut because it made me laugh.
I'm hoping there are some better scenes in the book that made, but anywho. And so we do have classic Skeletor. He likes the plan, but he's also not going to go himself. He's like, yeah, go ahead. Let these dudes take on Man-at-Arms. You know, this is the typical Skeletor we've seen. Let's kind of see how the situation plays out. And then I'll swoop in and get the spoils, you know? Mm-hmm. And again, here's where I'm like, okay, so now Clawful's going to go. Nope, he's gonna tell his cousin what to do and where.
Well, at this point, we don't know that they're not going, right? Like he doesn't say like we're not going.
He says to contact his cousin and give him the plan or something like that. So
right, but I assume that means that they're going to meet them there. Like the whole time I'm watching this episode, I'm like, they're on the way.
Yeah,
they're on the way. They're going to meet them there, because the cousin even says something, you know, coming up where it's like, you know, let's like capture them before they get here, like so that we can make a name for ourselves, kind of thing. So like it seems like they're expecting Skeletor and or Clawful and or the evil warriors at any moment throughout the rest of this episode. So
maybe, I don't know. I'm just
so
I'm already getting out at this point. But yeah, so Clawful looks confused when Skeletor tells him to send a message back. Evelyn says, "Don't worry, I'll do it. I'll show you how to click your claws." I don't know if she went and just started going like this, or if she had to. Well, I think she took his big claw and she's like clacking it together like the coconuts on Monty Python, like when your baby's crying, you do that like that. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting. No.
So fast forward, we see Man-at-Arms and Teela and Adam, you know, riding to go see Decker because Man-at-Arms can't go without the two kids because you know this wouldn't be a fun episode without, you know, Teela and Adam. Like Man-at-Arms just meeting his mentor and getting into a squabble with some crab people. Like, who would want to see that? This guy right here. But he's got to take the kids.
That would be amazing. And that's something I think a modern series would take the chance on.
Yeah.
Like, this would have been a perfect episode to not have a He-Man, not have an Adam, not have a Teela.
We've talked all season about how serious Man-at-Arms is and how he's just like laser focused on getting the job done. I think delving into his character here and kind of learning what made him and learning about how his interactions with Decker went as he was going through the training with him and stuff, and just giving you some insight on why he is the way he is would have made for an amazing episode.
So it's interesting because I just randomly at night I'll usually watch an older show, something I've seen a million times. So I recently threw on some of the early episodes first season of Scrubs.
Okay.
And I actually just watched the episode where it's like the whole kind of thing is about how it's when JD, played by Zach Braff, he needs I don't know if you watched the show ever.
Yeah, I love the show. Great show.
So he needs surgery done, and it turns out that Turk's going to be the one that does his surgery. And you know, he's all he can see is his college frat buddy.
Yeah,
you know,
even though he's an accomplished surgeon.
He's an accomplished surgeon at this point, right? And it was everybody, and even like Dr. Cox, who was the old grizzled doctor, like the mentor doctor to them, like his old mentor doctor came into the hospital, and you saw him revert back to like the goof off shenanigans.
Mhm.
Like there's something about that where certain people that you met at a certain point in your life always kind of
Yeah,
put you back there. So it would have been really cool to see Man at Arms be in more of the Tila Adam position.
absolutely. That would have been just great.
And we
Like,
get a
yeah, to see
a
Decker kind of take that
tiny-
Man at Arms role, and Man at Arms take the impetuous, charging forward, getting into trouble kind of role. That would have been great.
And even just and we get a little bit this later, but just Decker being like, well, you did this, but if you'd done this, it would have been better. And Man at Arms just being the one like, you know, and that could have been a fun dynamic, but
could have made for a great one. But instead, we got babysitting time with Man at Arms and the two kids. Who, you know, it's weird the way that they treat Adam and Tila in this series, because sometimes they feel very adult, and then sometimes they feel like 8-year-olds in the back of a car. He's on my side, she's on my side. Like come on. Like and that's what we get here.
That's what we get
like
here.
that.
We get them. They're driving this new aquatic Wind Raider vehicle, which looks cool. Like it's a nice looking vehicle. It's basically a Wind Raider tricked out for the water in a war whale kind of color scheme. So, but Tila's driving and arguing that she's a good driver, but they're saying she's not a good driver, and she almost crashes. And
Man at Arms says he should take over because it's dangerous, and she kind of basically says, "Don't worry about it, I got this." Keeps going, disobeys her father. You know.
Yep. The Claw guys try and get on, but she drives.
They don't even notice. They don't even notice that the Claw guys like have his claw like in the vehicle, like stabs the vehicle. Doesn't even notice, and then he flies off. And
Yep. They jump over a rock that Tila's going to crash into, and then Man at Arms takes over. And the Claw guys decide that's where they were supposed to capture him, but they failed. But then here's the worst part. You know what these guys are named in the script? Did you pay attention to the credits?
I did not.
To see these two crabs' names. The one that's his cousin is Claw Guy number 1. And the other one is Claw Guy number 2.
Interesting. I mean, I get not saying their names, but
even the Giants had names. We only said one of the Giants' names, but they all three had names. So, yeah. Man at Arms takes them the rest of the way. They get to the island. They see Decker's house. We don't go in, but they know nobody's there. And looking around, they find evidence of a struggle and follow footprints into a nearby cave. Once in there, they are attacked by several of these Claw guys. We got number 4, we got number 6, number 9, number 11, number 13. So, they get split off. Prince Adam manages to get away, trying to transform into He-Man. Tila and Man at Arms are captured. Meanwhile, Prince Adam is finding it difficult to find a secret place where he can transform into He-Man.
And he's running. Yeah, he just takes off.
And he
doesn't say anything. Just gone.
Yeah, well, there's no good excuse. There's no nothing. He's gone. One of the Claw guys is on him. It's weird because I usually like an interrupted transformation, but the whole Prince Adam running, like there really feels like no real tension or any. It's like I just don't care.
The one part I did like is when he goes to transform and he sees the reflection of one of them in the water.
That's what I mean.
Which I think that's kind of neat. Like that, because you don't think, oh, what if somebody was behind him and he didn't notice him? So like I thought that part of it was neat. But just the fact that they've stopped even having Adam give any excuses, like he's not worried about what Tila thinks. He's not, and she's not even questioning anymore. She's not even like, where the fuck is he going? Like she just, it is what it is. So, yeah.
Back on the shore, Man at Arms, Decker, and Tila are loosely bound by rope over these rocks, which it looks like they could easily just stand up.
Yeah.
The Claw guys reveal that their plan is to deliver Man-at-Arms to Skeletor. In exchange, Claw guy number 2 thinks that they'll get an island of
the
their
cousin,
own.
I believe, right?
No, number 1's the cousin.
Number 1. Yeah.
The cousin wants
wants
to
be an evil warrior.
He wants to be an evil warrior, and the other one wants an island to rule, and they think they'll get both of that.
And to get back to what I was saying earlier about Clawful, like that tells me that being an evil warrior is a prestigious position. Like that's something.
People. Yes,
that's something that as far as like these Claw people, they look at and go, "Hey, that's something that I want. I want to aspire to do that."
Right.
Which would tell me that whoever, like if let's say that Skeletor is putting together the evil warriors, and he goes, "I'm going to take one from this race of mermen, and I'm going to take one from this race of beastmen, and I'm going to take one from the race of clawmen, the crabmen or whatever."
Yep.
Like you would think that they would be the best of the best, like the top notch, like the best warriors, or they have some sort of something that makes them more valuable than the rest to be on that team. But
again, what
we see here is especially with the Claw guy number 1, he's able to do a lot of things we have not seen from Clawful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, and it would have been fun if this, okay, so you could have gotten Man-Arms to the island. You could have gotten him and Decker doing their thing, and then these Claw guys led by Clawful come, and you've got this Claw guy number 1 in kind of a Starscream role where he's like, how are you the one that, he's still wanting to be an evil warrior, but it's more about like, how did Clawful get this?
Yeah.
And I'm stuck here on the island. Like, that could have been a fun dynamic.
Yeah, what if, and we're just rewriting the script at this point because it's that great of an episode. Right. But what if the guy that Decker's fishing with at the beginning is kind of his buddy or whatever, and the crabmen know nothing about, they don't eavesdrop and find out that Man-at-Arms is coming or whatever, and for whatever reason they kidnap that old man, right. and whatever. And so when Man-at-Arms shows up by himself without the kids, Decker's like, "Hey, I need your help finding my friend," and right. they like have to go on this mission to go save their friend. Yep. I think that would just be a better episode. Like,
there's so much you could have done with this episode. Like, so then Claw guy number 1, and here's where I think why the plan isn't for Clawful or Skeletor to come initially is that at this point, Claw guy number 1 says he's gonna go let Skeletor know that they've captured Man-at-Arms. Mm-hmm. And he leaves Claw guy 2 by himself. Man-at-Arms and Decker start pretending to fight with each other so that the Claw guy will release them so that they can kill each other, I guess.
See, I didn't get that because as I'm making notes here, like I keep putting, where the hell are the evil warriors? Where the hell are the evil warriors? Like, because I still think that they're coming. Right.
And that's what I mean. And with him saying, I'm going to go let them know that we got him, I think that's Skeletor's plan was, okay, you two get him and deliver him to us. Yeah, I felt like they were on the way, but they were just letting them know as they're on the way, like, hey, we've got them whenever you get here kind of thing. That's how I took it. But and I would say, we're not going to get all the way into the ending, but just fast forward to the ending. I think I'm right because of what happens at the end, but we'll get there when we get there. Well, either way, Claw guy number 1 delivers a message to Skeletor and Clawful to meet us at this location, and we'll bring Man-at-Arms. That definitely happens. Yes, regardless of whether they were either way. I'm disappointed, and this is where I have a problem, and we'll just get into it right now. I don't have a problem with Clawful being a part of a race. Mm-hmm. I have a problem when that random number 1s and number 2s of that race are better in every way than Clawful is. Correct. This is my problem. This should have been, I mean, I know I've had my complaints earlier in the season with Merman's solo episode that became the fish episode, and even Trapjaws, which he never really got his turn, and Triclops was the multiplying mutants. Like, but this is the worst of the Evil Warriors solo episodes because Clawful not only gets completely cut out of the story, he is rendered so useless, so incompetent, so stupid that I don't understand why he's ever anything ever in this universe. And that is a travesty.
I had to switch to the top knot because at this point, between Decker and
so-
Man-at-Arms and Tila, we're all sporting top knots.
And I'm so pissed off. I'm not even amused by Curtis's top knot right now.
like this. I'm sitting here watching this episode, and I'm like, so Tila, Man-at-Arms, and Decker all have the same hairstyle.
Yes.
But no, I'm with you. And this is what I keep going back to. Like, not only, I don't know the order of things on how they put this series together. So I don't know what came first. But in my mind, I go, imagine that somebody made this amazing art for Clawful and said, this is how Clawful's going to look.
Which they did.
And
he was a Horseman design.
And then they go, okay, now we're going to write the stories and we're going to get a voice actor. And it's like, you just took this badass looking character and made him a complete doofus dumbass and made all the other people of his race better than him. But he's the one that's on the Evil Warriors. It's just, and I think it's so disheartening because I saw the stactions, the NECA stactions for this before I ever watched MYP. So seeing the NECA stactions and going, and I will say, though, all of those figures for the NECA stactions are amazing, but the Clawful, in my opinion, is by far the best one. And when I look at that Clawful and I go, wow, that is just an intimidating, scary beast of a creature. Like, out of everything there, that is the one I wouldn't want to have cross my path. Right. And then you watch this series and you go, he's a complete dumbass. And not only that, but just useless in every way. Like,
yes,
just terrible.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and
it's a waste of that character for sure.
To add insult to injury, he's upstaged by guys named Claw Guy 1 and 2.
Yes, Claw Guy 1 is able to like rally the other crab people. He's able to summon squids. He's able
and he doesn't even have a name.
No.
Like, at least with the Caligars, we got Ceratiz. We got like. At least get these dudes' name if they're gonna do my boy Clawful so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, then Decker and Man-at-Arms. Oh, Decker uses pocket sand.
Well, they do the fake like they're fighting, fake like they're arguing, and so Claw Guy number 2, I believe.
Yep.
Who wants to see them fight goes ahead and just uses his claw to chop the ropes and free them. Yep. Because clearly, if he frees them, they're not going to turn on him. They're going to
kill each other,
fight each other.
Yeah, clearly.
And then pocket sand to the face, and then double kick, knocking him to high heck. So.
And of course, Man-at-Arms turns to Teal and goes, "You didn't think we were really mad at each other?" No, Man-at-Arms, none of us.
Nobody fell for that.
Nobody
except
thought
for
that.
Crab number 2.
Yeah.
And Tila apparently, because she's now reverted to being like a dumb kid again, even though she's also captain of the guard and all these other things. But
right, and she's learned all these lessons and she's grown up. Robato's Gambit's already happened.
But it's just like back and forth with her. You don't know.
Yeah.
Are you going to be act like a 12-year-old today? Or are you going to act like a 20-year-old? We don't know. So. Yep.
So they all get free. They free Tila. There's a ton of crab guys again. He-Man shows up.
He finally turns. He finally finds a spot in enough out of the way that he's able to transform after running for half the episode.
Nobody even questions He-Man appearing randomly, busting out of a cave wall.
We're 22 episodes in. We're done. We don't question Adam running off anymore. We don't question He-Man showing up. It's just, we just go with it.
They were just getting good at it, though, I felt. I feel like they were just finally hitting the point where they were, doing it well. And then here, everyone's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Last-ditch effort. Claw Guy number 1 calls for a bunch of pulmos, which are giant jellyfish-like creatures with,
are they different than the attack squids?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because when I saw them, I thought that was the attack squid, like the vehicle that we reviewed.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing. Okay.
No, the attack squids are small vehicles that they can ride on. These are giant towers of jellyfish that machine gun out super toxic barbs that these barbs are so toxic when they hit a piece of rock, the rock like explodes and grows oozy mold on it. We do find out that, and they have an unlimited supply, and they come out like machine gun ammunition. Luckily, they only fire it right at He-Man's sword. And
yeah, why would you fire it anywhere else?
Right. We do find out that they are also, it's toxic even to them, because Decker is able to take one down by grabbing its own barb and stinging it with its own toxin, which makes perfect sense. And it's so toxic to itself that it takes itself down immediately. It is dead on the sand there.
Yeah, I mean, why would it have immunity to its own stinger like that?
Right, yeah. That makes no sense. And also remember how sudden, like Decker like barely pokes it and it's out. This giant skyscraper of a beast is dead in about 5 seconds. So they do manage to take them all down, but unfortunately Man-at-Arms takes heavy fire, and Man-at-Arms, the one dude covered head to toe in body armor, is stung. Not He-Man, that's
Tila
90% flesh.
He-Man wearing a harness.
Even Decker's got a tank top on at best.
Yeah,
Man-at-Arms is the only one that actually is penetrated.
Yeah, which is the one with Cyclone, the episode of Cyclone where
Mr. Van Margar.
Yeah, and Man-at-Arms gets it there too. Like we see, and I think there was another one. I can't remember. There was another one where Man-at-Arms got attacked. I think it was when Evelyn was faking, being the siren or whatever. Anyways, there's multiple times where we see Man-at-Arms as kind of the one that's taken out, and they've got to kind of care for him. So
but luckily Man-at-Arms has just enough time to deliver one last cryptic lesson to Tila to remember her lessons.
Yeah, but Decker thinks that it's his at first. Like he thinks, I don't even know what lesson you're talking about, kind of thing. And then Tila's like, he was talking to me. So
Now granted, this toxin took out a 5-story jellyfish in 5 seconds. But Man-at-Arms has at least 20 seconds to deliver a message, and then he's passed out, but he's still there.
Yep.
Tila flashes back. She remembers his lesson on antibodies, and she remembers that she needs the Madrona tree pod, and that's the antibody to this pulmose toxin,
which doesn't grow on this island. So they're
not even in this hemisphere. They're north, and it grows in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah, they're in deep trouble at this point. So.
But luckily, He-Man knows that these pods float on the ocean current, so he jumps into the water and just starts swimming randomly.
Just starts swimming. He's gonna come across one for sure and get back in enough time that Man-at-Arms isn't in trouble
for the toxin that killed a 7-story jellyfish in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then also Man-at-Arms has this whole time to come around again
jellyfish that shoots that toxin.
Right.
So even if it's not immune to its own toxin, it definitely doesn't have any sort of, like, it doesn't slow it down. In fact, it must speed it up.
It must trigger like all of the toxins.
Yeah. It's like a chain reaction, like one stick of dynamite going off in a box of dynamite. Like all of a sudden, all the other toxins hit it, I guess. So
yes. And now Man-at-Arms, who didn't have time to say Madrona tree pods, only had time to say something about teachings or lessons or something. I should have written it down. Now he wakes up and gives like a 10-minute speech about how proud of her he is. And I'm like,
and then also,
what are we doing?
Much is expected of her, kind of a cryptic, this is I can't tell you about your mom, but here's another cryptic, there's something expected more of you, kind of thing.
Right. From the man who couldn't say Madrona tree pods.
Correct.
A minute ago.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So He-Man finds a pod.
Oh, look at that.
Yep. Swims back, takes a little detour on top of a whale.
Well, he does a cool jump.
Yeah.
Like a sick trick off the the whale,
Yeah.
and
They take care of Man at Arms
then he
pretty
comes
easily,
back,
and then Man at Arms first thing after he wakes up, somebody should look for Adam.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and not
yeah.
to mention, this whole time, Man at Arms done his 10 deathbed speeches.
Yeah.
He-Man got the tree pod, swam back. They brewed it up into this like soup.
Mhm.
And Claw Guy number 1 is still just laying underneath a jellyfish, like squirming. Like
Mhm.
he's been over there that whole time. Like, let me out, let me out.
Yep.
Like he hasn't actually been able to like wiggle out or cut his way out or.
Yep. And at this point, for about the 5th time, I go, where the hell are the evil warriors?
Yes.
And then we see Skeletor and Clawful.
Yes.
And they're who knows where. Just
middle of the ocean. They're just this kind of outcropping, and we
Yep.
find out that this is where they were told to meet Claw Guy number 1 for Man Arms.
This is, I mean, according to the message that Clawful got, and surely he read it correctly because he is very in tune with the language of his people. This is where they're supposed to meet.
My God.
Ready for the moral?
Well, hang on. So,
Okay.
but I've come to like to guess the morals because we've got a lot of lessons here, right? So we've got, Tila's got to learn to be more patient, less headstrong.
Mhm.
We got that in the beginning. We've got always listen to your mentors, right? We could do that whole thing, like really listen to your teachers and everything. They're trying to make you the best you can be. We could go that route.
Mhm.
But I think at the end of the day, we could even go the love and proudness of the father has for his daughter, and no matter what happens, your parents will always be proud of you. So yeah, any of those
good ones for sure.
I think one of those has to be it, Curtis.
Mm-hmm. What we get is He-Man kind of dancing around, practicing, with his sword play, and Orko asking him what he's doing, and he says he's practicing, and he says, learn your lessons, put them into practice is the key to success.
Practice makes perfect. That's what we learned.
Which, I mean, I guess goes back to the fact that Tila remembered her lesson and then
she didn't practice
put it into practice by having He-Man swim for a pod to put. I don't know, man. I don't know.
She didn't even really have that, though. No one really knew what He-Man was doing. She's like, but you're on the tree pods. Yeah, what's he's swimming? Like, where He-Man, where? Oh, okay, he's gone.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just sit here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got God. I'm going first this time. Power Sword ranking.
Oh, wow. He's ready, folks.
I'm done. I don't know how we've gone this long. Power Sword ranking. 3 Power Swords is the best of the best. An absolutely perfect episode.
This is not getting that, folks.
2 Power Swords is an above average episode. We got 1 Power Sword. That's a good episode. Solid. We got the Cosmic Enforcer. That's neutral, neither good nor bad, right down the middle. We got the Havoc Staffs. 1 Havoc Staff's bad, 2 Havoc Staffs worse. 3 Havoc Staffs is an absolute abomination that should be banished to Despondos and never to be seen by anybody again. This episode sucks. It has promise. I like the design of the Claw Guys. I hate the character assassination of Clawful that occurs to this whole thing. This pacing is garbage. There's no real threat. The plot line is thin at best. But even that, Claw Guys trying to capture Man-at-Arms could have been enjoyable in the right circumstance. The fact that it pivots at the last moment into like this save Man-at-Arms bullshit is like, what are we doing? And then He-Man there's no threat. I'm watching this for the first time. Man-at-Arms is laying there and they're like, we got to find an antidote. I'm like, is this going to be a 2-parter? Like they're stretching this out? And no, nothing. The best I can come up with is the fact that in Filmation, when we see Man-at-Arms mentor Rohad, it's in an episode called The Remedy, where the episode is He-Man trying to find a cure because Rohad has become ill with this grave illness. So it really feels like they were trying to like get those vibes, kind of like they did with Courage of Adam. They took a couple classic Filmation episodes and blended them together, but this just feels so tacked on, so unnecessary, and at the end it's so unfulfilling because there's no real threat. Man, and He-Man just swims randomly under the water, grabs a pod, and comes back, and everybody's fine. This for me is the low point of the entire series. This is my 3 Havoc staffs. This should never be viewed again. I don't normally watch this episode when I rewatch this series. I skip over it. It has nothing redeeming. Honestly, even the bits we get about Decker don't even make me care about him or learning more about him. Again, that probably could have changed with a better episode. But yeah, this banish it for all eternity. 3 Havoc staffs.
Holy cow, folks. Wow.
I've been waiting all series for this.
Wow.
And I didn't think my opinion would change, but I did watch it again, trying to cleanse everything. And I am right back where I've always been about this episode.
So here's kind of where I'm at with these. I look at several different things as I'm making my ranking. One is, did they develop an individual? Like, did we see somebody kind of grow throughout the episode? That's a no for me. I don't see that here. I don't see anybody learning and growing from this. Did anything that happens further the story? Have we, like, the overarching story of this series? Have we seen this move forward in this episode? That's a no. Did they highlight a side character? Did somebody get to take the spotlight that we don't normally see, and we get to learn more about them? To me, that there was an opportunity for that, but I don't think that happens here. Like, we don't see Decker shine. We don't see the highlight on him. He's just kind of there. Was it entertaining? Was it something that I just, a lot of times I'll end up watching these a couple times because it's just an entertaining episode. So I'll watch it once for the notes, and then I'll go, you know what? I want to just watch that again because it's fun. That's a no here. And then, like, the actual animation, like was it some just amazing fight scenes and some creative use of things? And that's a no too. So, the only thing I can say good about this episode is that like 3 or 4 seconds at the beginning with just the 2 guys fishing. Like, that's the most entertaining part for me. And after that, after the whole clicking of the claw people, like, it was downhill from there. Like, it was like, okay, that's a little bit ridiculous. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. I was at 2, but after the conversation, I think I'm 3 as well. I think I'm 3.
Exactly.
I think let's just, like, totally do away with this one. Never watch it again. Don't even consider it. It's like Rocky 5.
I won't.
Like, you don't even, it never happened. Yep. There's Rocky 1 through 4, Rocky Balboa, the Creed movies. We don't even talk about Rocky 5. It doesn't exist. So
I will never watch it again. I watched it for this rewatch series, and I am done now. I have read through the script alterations, the deleted scenes. I've read through the trivia. I don't even feel there's anything worth sharing on this episode. Like, there's nothing even in the deleted. There's been a couple episodes where, like, oh man, they should have left that scene in. No, like, it's just padding that they cut. Like,
I tell you what, though,
there was nothing here.
If I was watching this at the time, you better believe I would have been supporting us top knot for a while. I've been walking around. I would have maybe dyed my hair completely white. And
that's
been like
the best thing.
Yeah,
to
the
come
Decker
from
top
it.
knot. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So,
and it comes right after Snake Pit, so that even makes the fall. I know you weren't high on Snake Pit, but I was. So, like, that makes the fall even worse for me. Like,
yeah.
Snake Pit was just so much fun, and then you get this, and it's like, what are we doing?
I will say, had I watched this one and then Snake Pit,
yeah, that would have been
my rating on Snake Pit probably would have been much higher. Like, that's how bad this one was. So bad that I look at the last episode and I go, maybe I judged it a little too harshly. So
to date, the worst I had given out was 1 Havoc staff. And that was only once, and that was.
It'll be interesting to see
Turnabout.
what the folks in the chat say and
For sure.
what Sean says when we do the recap.
Yep.
So
your lowest before this was 2 Havoc staffs, and that was Sky War. So.
And that's kind of where I was with this until we talked about it, and it kept getting worse. So
agreed. All right, guys, we got to get off. I got to go wash the taste of the island out of my mouth. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you comment down below, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget, the comment gets you entered into a drawing to win your own copy, not Curtis, not Sean, but anybody else, your copy of Yuka's unofficial guide to He-Man Master Universe 2002 cartoon series.
If you haven't, also, we've been reviewing the toys from the series as well, and that's been a lot of fun. So yeah, check those out.
For sure, for sure. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for the sweet smell of victory.
Oh, come on.